central.
I'm the queen of central.
You coming to after school today?
We'll talk about it later. The last one, Dion, you want to do it? Inscribed or central angle?
Central.
Central?
Yeah.
This question mark?
Inscribed.
You got it. Inscribed. The first one's inscribed. So we just labeled them. That was our first step.
Hold up a second. I'm trying to get the word.
ICI. It's ICI. We're going to actually go through each one. I was just categorizing them. We're going to actually go through and solve each one. Now, if you remember from yesterday, there are only 3 options. You can double it, you can cut it in half, or you can leave it the same. So for the very first one, Chance, what did you get?
75 divided by 2, I got 150.
Divided by 2?
Yeah.
I think you made it bigger, so you're not dividing by 2. You're
How
already
many times 2? Cut me some slack.
Got it. 150, you got it. Now, Douglas, did you get the second one?
I got 130.
Got 130. He is absolutely right. If it's a central angle, what happens? It stays the
Bang.
always easy. The last one, does anyone feel confident about it?
I do.
Chance does. Anyone else want to try? Take a risk?
I'm trying.
You want to try? Go for it.
Let's take a risk on both.
What 8-4?
That was a really good guess. Remember there were 3 options? What were the 3 options? It could get bigger, it could get smaller, or it could stay the same. Does this look smaller or larger than this big arc?
Okay.
Looks like it's
Right.
at this angle.
Look the
I
same.
can
Looks the same.
That's not what I got.
Check this out, Douglas.
Yeah, I think it's mine.
It does look like it gets smaller. And the only way we can make it smaller is by dividing by 2. Can you divide by 2 for me?
This.
You got it. Our angle is 46. Beautiful. Alright. So every day from now until the QA, what we are going to do is we're going to go through like notes that fly by super quickly and then our game. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So I need to refresh your brains,
No, it's not.
zap them, speed them up, remind you of what we're doing. Zap them. If you remember, and I remember so clearly because it was like amazing, the reason I chose the Pythagorean theorem to start our review on the very first day of review is because you guys are Pythagorean theorem masters. So I don't know if I told you this, but you guys outperformed everybody else on the section last quarter of the QA that did Pythagorean theorem and trig. So those are your 2 best subjects, and so I wanted to start today with Pythagorean theorem because you guys should be very confident, and we've done it, and we practiced it last week when we were doing the area of a cone. Remember that? Or the volume of a cone?
Yeah.
Alright. So what I want you to do is flip over your page. Flip over your page. I left you reminders on the top, but I don't even think you're really getting them.
I don't really think we need it done, but love you for it.
So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through the first one, and I'm going to talk through it. So Dion, you are not on the same page as me. No? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by walking through the first one, and then you're going to do the second one. The very first one looks like this. Step 1, draw an arrow. Step 2, label your C. Oh, there it is. I found it. Now I'm going to write my Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I don't care which is my A. I don't care which is my B as long as it's not my C. So I'm going to say 12.8 squared plus 7.9 squared equals c squared. Chance, what did you get when you did 12.8 squared?
163.84.
Great. And then can someone else do 7.9 squared? Douglas, will you do 7.9 squared for me?
Yeah.
52.41.
You got it. I'm going to need to, and if I go back up to the reminder, if I'm missing a hypotenuse, I'm just going to combine like terms on the side and add. So when I add these 2 values, what do I get?
Hey, hold on.
You got it?
Whatever's on one.
Equal.
Hold on. Wait, you already had one. Dion, your turn, go. What? No? Chance, go.
226.25.
226 point,
25.
I'm going to call that 226.3 equals c squared. All right, at this point, Antonio's my master. Antonio, let's get rid of that C, the squared, and get C alone. What do? You better believe it. Square root both sides.
Okay.
What do I end up with? Anyone with a calculator and fast fingers? Darn it, because you got the ugly calculator.
Darn it, because I can't spell it.
Yeah, you can. It's just uglier. Yeah. You're gonna have to read that to me to figure out how to say it.
Oh.
15.04.
15.04.
Yeah.
Awesome. 15. I'm gonna say 15 is fine. So do a 15. Call x 15. I think that's close enough. Because if we round, it's really gonna be 15.0. So I'm gonna end up with x equal 15 miles. And that was what I do if I'm missing a hypotenuse. So if you guys remember, that's different from if I'm missing a side. Right now, while we're on this, I want you to practice it. So right next to it, it says you do. You're going to do the same exact thing and find my missing hypotenuse for the you do on your own. Questions? The faster we do this, the faster I take out the Nerf gun.
Are we doing this one?
Yeah, as long as you're speeding up your process, because right now you're processing real slow. Sit up. And do it.
No.
Thank you. Alright, you guys can get started. I'm going to stop you as soon as 3 people are done. So we're racing. The 3 first people who are done are going to be the ones to walk through this with me. And Douglas is halfway through.
Hey, Miss on board.
Why do you always?
Huh?
Nine.
Huh?
Nine.
Huh?
I say nine.
What?
What? You want to threaten me?
No?
Okay.
Love it. What's your C?
Equals, I got it.
What's your C?
I'm done.
Yes. You weren't in here for this, were you? Does it look kind of familiar? Have you ever done it before? Do you think you're capable of doing it, or do you want to walk through it along with me? See if you can do it anymore. Still see pens moving. Leon, how are you walking through it together?
What?
Ooh, is that a pen issue?
No.
I will not. Yeah. Yep, perfect. There you go. Yeah, I think it just popped in by accident.
It ain't like you videotaping us.
Oh, so you want to be America's Next Top Singer? So you're trying to get on videotape?
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
Rockstar. I see 2 scholars who are going ahead and doing the bottom problems for me. How nice, I won't have to ask you to use a calculator.
Yeah, please.
This one's different. Which one's your C this time? Nope. Draw your arrow. Yup, there you go. Yep.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, what's our last time? I'm gonna give you about 15 more seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Major shout out, major shout out, major shout out.
Yo.
2 major shout outs. 1 to Douglas and Chance for going ahead, because they didn't settle for being done. Douglas, Chance, and Antonio for going ahead, because they said, we know what to do, and we're not wasting our time while everyone else is working. Let's go. Second shout out is to Zeke, who,
You got
if
the
you,
right answer?
who, if you recall,
Was
was
it
not
here?
in our class when we learned this,
So
and he
got the right-
literally learned it by watching me do this.
So he got the right answer, didn't he?
He's on his way. You ready? Let's walk through this really quickly. We have a squared plus b squared